Yo, what's going on, guys? Jared here. Today I am back with another ban list discussion video with Nick and Vince once again. Say hi. We have a
Hello.
Hello.
great
Hello.
discussion with just these wonderful 5 cards that got hit on this ban list. but yeah, we're just gonna jump right into talking about this I would say unexciting list, in my opinion. So starting off with the forbidden of the only card of Kashtira Arise Heart. What are your guys' thoughts on Arise Heart getting banned?
Well deserved. It's a well deserved hit. Needs to get go. It makes it so other decks can graveyard decks particularly can get a chance to do anything. It's that void, that power void is kind of gone away. I feel like with this card banned. I mean, you're still gonna have the flu decks with Shifter, but it's not as bad without a Rise Heart.
Yeah, it's not like an engine. It's not like Flu can search like a macrocosmos. You know what I mean?
It's a non-searchable. You better have three copies
Yeah, like
in your opening hand.
The fact that it's in engine is the killer.
Problem.
Yeah, that's like the issue. I feel like that's my issue with a lot of stuff. Like in engine floodgates is my problem with most things.
I can't think of anything funny to say here.
No,
I was
it's
gonna
not.
try
It's
and-
not funny.
And play devil's advocate as a joke and be like, "What's the big deal? I don't understand why people care about this card. It should really just be a 3. It's not a big deal."
It's like
But,
so
the more
obvious
I
it's
look at
boring.
the card, yeah, I'm like, I can't justify it.
It's literally
Just
like
goodbye.
spellbook judgment levels of fucking disgusting. Yeah. The only thing while we're on Forbidden, I guess, is there other stuff that you wanted
Yes.
Forbidden? I feel like that's
That's
more
almost
interesting.
that's like part of the discussion almost of that we should have. It's like what didn't
was
get
it?
hit that you thought would have or should have.
My number one was
Would this go to limited too, or just general on the list, or just only forbidden?
for now
Each
just
one
for
as
now
we
just
hit.
for yeah as we'll go, but for now just Forbidden. I am a strong believer that, and this is my number one, is that Pot of Prosperity should be banned. That card is so broken.
Yeah,
I thought it should go at one.
You know,
I thought the solid one of.
I saw a post the other day saying that it was better than Pot of Greed, and I really sat down with myself and I had to think, is this card actually better than Pot of Greed? And I genuinely,
close.
I actually think it. I actually think it is. I'm not even joking. I think this card's better than Pot of Greed.
I think for the decks that it can be played in very easily, it can be better than Pot of Greed.
It is a card that I almost want to stop playing Runic just so I could play Prosperity because I know how broken this card is.
I was surprised it didn't get hit at all. I was like, oh, Prosperity's 100% getting put on this next list, and then it just wasn't. I'm like, are we looking at the same stuff? I don't know how they determine their lists back there, but I know they see all the data. I know they see all the decks at top, and they know, and they see the ratios of what, obviously card by card, what gets played.
Yeah.
So and they have all the statistics. They data crunch it all to formulate what we see currently.
So that's something I was gonna say, that the fact that you don't see a card like Eradicator on here.
Yeah, that was gonna be another one.
That was so without even getting to that card super particularly, that card was discussed back in July, for example, when Labyrinth was really big during Nats. People complained about that card. People were getting destroyed by it at other events in Europe and all that. Okay, I feel like it's probably less popular now, right? It certainly doesn't feel as
it was
crazy.
good against Cash. It was a blowout
Right.
against Cash.
So now that Cash has kind of taken a step back, even before this list, right? And Unchained has kind of stepped into the first place position. It feels like Eradicator is a little less good. Now, the reason I say all of this is because a lot of times people will criticize Konami, and I think rightly so. They'll criticize them sometimes for being very slow on their ban lists. They're like, oh, the ban list was slow. And Jared, I know you and I were talking about it, I think the night before they announced this. And I was joking with you, but also kind of serious, thinking that I'm like, oh, they're going to hit Sprite and Runic And like you were saying, like similar things. I think like they're just gonna hit Sprite and Runic when like they're like one
Not-
in the top 32.
Yeah, they're like not
you know?
issues anymore. It's just like, oh,
Like,
whatever,
there's
who cares.
But that's because Konami's slow to it because like they made a ban list back in July and didn't release it until September or something.
Yeah.
Well, like I say all that, having seen this list, it doesn't seem like that's what happened. You
Mhm.
know, because none of that happened on this list.
Yes.
So I agree with Vince in that sense. Like they definitely are looking and they're definitely up to date. So like, what were they thinking on not hitting, for example? Man,
Prosperity.
like
So they
prosperity.
see any deck that can run Prosperity is ranked 3 Prosperity, 100% all the time. Like
So
it's
car-
not even-
That card is insane. I like to compare it to, and MBT actually did this. So I found it interesting that he did this totally separately. He said that he compares it to Dig Through Time and Magic, which I don't know if I've ever shown you that one. It just says like look at the top 7, I think,
Mhm.
and grab 2 of the cards to your hand for the rest of the
Oh,
bottom. It's like
it's broken.
oh, dude.
okay, it's broken. It's an instant as well, but it costs 10 mana.
Oh.
But you can reduce the cost by up to 8 by banishing a card from your graveyard for each.
Oh, that's cool.
mana.
That's kind of a neat
So
card.
like if you have 8 cards in your graveyard, you pay 2 mana on it,
Yeah.
which is insane. But like that card is banned in a lot of formats. And then there's an
Mhm.
equivalent card called Treasure Cruise, which is 7 and a blue, and it just says draw 3 cards. That card is, and also has the banish thing.
Okay.
That card is also banned in a lot of formats. So like Pot of Greed, really good. Like that Treasure Cruise, really
Yeah.
good. But also, so is Pot of Prosperity.
Yes.
You know, like so, like just because it's a newer pot and we haven't banned any of the newer pots doesn't mean that
Mhm.
this one shouldn't be. You know,
Right.
so I agree with you.
I think my like takeaway, this is kind of more like an entire list thing, I guess, is it's very, I posted this on Twitter too. It's a very balanced list because the format's pretty balanced, I would say. But it's not exciting, I guess would be the
It is definitely not exciting.
words.
There's not, like, you can't really sink your teeth into this list.
everything is so minimal. It's so minimal. Yeah, like there's a million cards honestly I could say I want banned, but it, you know, but
I actually like on that one. I think you brought up Prosperity, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm fine with that getting banned or put to 1. I think it would be better than it being at 3.
Mhm.
But in general, like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things I'm like, whatever.
it was like
it's
that
not
and
banned.
Shifter. Like those two cards were like my biggest gripes with the game. Like those are my number 1 and 2, just because they don't like Arise Heart is at least in Engine. And you can expect it, so you can kind of like look at the book cards and like even like
It's all,
Raigeki and stuff.
it's also in
There's-
play. Like
yeah.
you can do something about the Arise Heart.
Shifter, it literally, I don't like how it like functions as a card. It just makes
Almost no
nothing
counterplay
games.
to that card.
Yes, it's terrible. That's why I don't like it. I'm kind of upset that it's not, again, not on anything. I don't know. I just don't like nothing games. Like I don't like when nothing happens. But-
Oh, I agree. I think that if you allow for a card like that to exist in a game, your game like suffers from that. Like, how could you allow a card to, like, in such a wide way? Like, if it hit like 2 decks or something, then whatever, you know.
Yeah.
If like Token Collector, you know, like
Right.
cultural players had a hard time against that, I guess. Even then, like they kind of. But
I mean, like the only reason I can think about it is because like now, Kashtira is significantly worse. It's still very good. I would like to point out I do not think Kashtira is like a bad deck. Actually, I think it's fine. Like every monster is just a boss monster, which is kind of the reason it was insane already. But it's probably just like a slower, grindy floodgate type deck now. That just trades with you very well.
and
but-
can run Shifter.
It can play Shifter. It can play a shit ton of floodgates. It's like gadgets, new age, I guess. But
Yeah.
but what I'm getting to is that like the decks that now play Shifter are just worse. Like they're just actually bad now. I would say like they're all tier 2. If that makes sense.
I
Like
see.
if all the Shifter decks are tier 2 and their base engine is just worse, it's like might be okay, but I don't think
Right.
it's. I don't like that argument still, just because like if you're, I don't know, like
It still makes for like kind
Unhealthy.
of very lopsided gameplay, even when you're playing against that tier 2 deck. It's like, yeah, I'll beat it until they like unless they draw a Shifter. So
Yeah.
you're just carried by that card, you know, in that sense.
yeah, it's just not
Um,
fun.
Also, there's also the factor of like if you allow a card like Shifter to be around and another deck like Kashtira comes into a tier 1 slot, there it is. It's there again, and it just like
Right, yeah.
it's sort of like this like it's like a bomb that goes off and just kills all the other decks. It's
We
like,
need-
all right.
We need Shifter to counter the new absolutely disgusting Infernoid cards that are coming.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the most
There you
absurd cards I've ever printed, but that's
They're
besides the
making
point.
more creative cards. They're making more creative cards.
Yeah, that one guy in Konami who just makes all the absurd cards is having a field day recently. He must got a pay raise.
They must have been like, all right, I think, all right. So on a quick little, I guess, deviation from the ban list, and go to Konami card design discussion real quick. So I'm not sure if obviously you noticed the Unchained stuff. They were all created cards, more or less.
Very powerful. Yeah.
Yes, but I think they're trying to push the older archetypes to do a lot better than what they originally were trying to. Because you look at like let's say per example with Scrap, when they made Scrap Factory, like that card is really good, but it's like it's scraps.
Yeah,
Like
it's still in scraps.
it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And that was the same problem with Unchained. Like Unchained really didn't do anything to like before these 3 cards came out.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy that 3 can just turn it on like that all the way to first place. 3 cards.
And I think I guess Konami is trying to get like the older decks to kind of like have a like older decks that didn't get like their shot.
That's smart on their part.
No, I like that.
Like,
I like that.
Do a resurgence. So they're actually just like, all right, we want to make Inferno good. How do we make Inferno like really, really strong? And like,
they figured that one out.
Well, how about we just have a dump 10 or a
dump 10 or return
dump
11.
10.
Like these numbers are insane. Like these aren't real numbers. Like when I saw that,
return 11, add a spell. Like I'm like, what the? Like I don't know what I was reading, but like it's the cards are ridiculous. And will it make it really good meta contender? I don't know because the meta is always evolving, and those cards don't come out for like another.
That
like,
gets
6 months.
released. That's gonna be fucking tier at least 2 at a minimum. Like that's like super unoptimistic. That's like pessimistic point of view in my head. That's tier 2.
I will say, being the pessimist with Vince, I think the one thing that might hold that deck back is like the monsters themselves. They're not really like designed in a way that say Unchained Soul Sharvara is. Like they don't trade like 2 for 1 constantly. It's like, oh, I summon myself. If I go, I get a card. My favorite card, Dragoon Ramus. I search Ravine and I come out from the graveyard. The Infernoids don't really. I mean, they kind of do. Like Harmadic summons himself and then pops a guy, but it's not.
But it's
like
like
it
I feel
doesn't
like you
tutor
need to see
anything.
Decatron. It's like you need to see Decatron or like
Bro,
a mass mill card to like get
It's
it
fine.
going. You need something to
Let's,
get it going.
you know
it's
what?
fine.
Let's pin it right there, and we'll come back to this video in like 8 months.
All right, you two are
and when
the pessimistics, and I'm like, this deck is fucking broken.
And when it's like tier 0, Jared's gonna come back and be like, "Yeah, remember when you guys said this?"
Yeah, please. I'm going to hold this accountable for the next like 6 months when we get those cards. I'll be like, these cards are fucking absurd. Okay, so going to limited. Oh yeah. So Magnamut and Chaos Space we just talk about together, I guess. This is just Pauly's fault. This is just Pauly's fault.
Yep.
If you think about it, can you think of it as anything but that?
They like targeting you, Nick. Apparently, they just like your deck.
I don't even like. It's kind of funny. Like I just kind of sit around on the fringes of Dragon Link, and as a result, I get smacked around occasionally. So I mean, I did play 3 space or whatever, but it's not the end of the world. I think for Dragon Link, it hurts a lot more.
Yeah, this hits a lot of consistency on that deck.
Yes, I was reading on the Dragon Link Facebook page, and a lot of them are trying to say it's dead. Like I don't think it's dead. But I agree with you pretty much that it's a massive consistency hit. Like there's not really a replacement for.
Yeah,
Chaos Space.
they're in shambles right now.
And if you're gonna play black and white, like opening safer into black and white is not nearly as good as opening space into black and white, because you use your normal summon, you don't get an extra card out of it.
Yeah.
You also don't get the the black or the white in your hand for like the discard to Ravine or something. Yeah, there's a lot that you lose there. I think they could have hit something else. I thought the hit was gonna be Lubellion and Magma to 1, but I guess their move was, we're gonna release this around the tin, so we're gonna not hit a lot of stuff in the tins. I guess they hit Magnemite, but I think it'll be okay for Dragon Link. I think that they'll resurface again somehow. They'll have to just kind of like they're just worse.
I'm not worried about it. I think it'll be fine. Maybe they'll lean more into the rocket package. Like I think it's fine.
Yeah. Do you have any comments about what wasn't like limited or hit at all? Like I guess this is like the section for like stuff that like maybe shouldn't be banned, but like should be reined in. Maybe like a deck.
I guess I would immediately go to again Shifter Prosperity. This also could have been here, and I would have been happier with it.
Yeah.
But like other than that, like I don't know, people like and nothing else has been doing like crazy. If you're banning a Rise Heart anyway, like I would say Fenrir maybe like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
Fenrir
card. I don't know how
here.
that card. I don't know how that card just didn't get like.
Fenrir's like so weird. Like I think
I
Fenrir.
really like the card as an idea. It's like kind of cool. You just like throw that in a deck.
People are saying that Fenrir's not broken. And I get it. It's not broken. But in like this format that we're going to, where every deck is just like okay, is what it seems like. Like I feel like nothing's absurd. Like no deck is just like crazy. I think this is where Fenrir is going to like super shine.
There's no other card that is a board breaker ish card,
An extender.
an extender, and an interrupt, and then like a tutor. Like he like replaces himself too.
Yeah.
There's no card that like does all that stuff. All that stuff. He doesn't do them all like insanely well. Like he's not Lightning Storm. He's not evenly.
Yeah.
As a board breaker, he's not, Prosperity as a card advantage thing. He's not Name Your Interrupts. He's not Erratic Seal as an interrupt, but like he does all those things.
I
crazy.
Yeah, I definitely I know. Like I said, people are talking about how it's not that good. It's which I agree with. I don't think he's insane, but with the fall of cash means the fall of book cards most likely, and with the fall of book cards means the probable betterness of Fenrir being played. And every deck is kind of like not doing this big combo. They're kind of very like
Everything's mid-range.
like mid-range. Everything's mid-range. Yeah, it's all mid-range.
Oh, he'll excel in that kind of environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
Yes, I think he trades well into everything. He's fine in slower formats. So I think this is going to be the format where he really, really shines. Like,
and then gets hit on the next list.
Yeah, if there's a list, it'll probably be the next one. Because even I think the Pearly list from the last Wisecast were playing Fenrir in the main deck too. A couple of them.
I think I remember that.
In like top 4, so like, he's up there, but yeah, like he's probably.
I think it's going to be interesting to have that card legal, along with like the Diabell Stars and stuff. Like you're going to play all that in a deck or whatever. You're going to be like Fenrir Search Fenrir, pitch Fenrir, summon Diabell Star.
Dude, I keep forgetting that deck's coming out.
Yeah.
Seems
Those
pretty
cards
cool.
are nice.
I'm kind of excited. What
Those
that
cards
makes?
are
You
nice.
go Diabell Star plus Fenrir makes Arsenal Falcon.
I mean, that's the issue. All right. I just as another side away because this band is like really small anyway. These like I feel like the problem with like Yu-Gi-Oh standard format as a whole, it's so stale. Like the decks have been around forever. It feels like. And
it feels like that. Cashier's been around for about a year now.
Kashtira has like Sprite is still being played. Bestials. Tyr's gonna make a comeback after this. I think. I strongly think Tyr's gonna have a resurgence. Yeah. So we're gonna play against Tyr Woman again, which is fine. Tyr is more the fun one out of like all of them, but like it's still like it's not something like refreshing. I guess like I don't know. Like I'm not old. Like Tyr's not old enough to me where I'm like, oh yeah, like whatever. Who cares? Like it's Tyr. Yippee-ki-yay. But like I'm just I make this complaint to Vince. I think I've said it to you. I am so tired of my opponent activating Branded Fusion. I just that card is so that card is so
Yes.
like the card is just so boring. Like I don't like, and that applies to like other stuff too. Like there's just so many times now where I play a game and I just roll my eyes because I'm just so tired of seeing the cards across the table. Because I just want something. I'm excited for Diabol Star now. That's why, like, another reason I'm like, oh, cool. Like, these are finally like something fresh. Like, I don't know how a game is. Like, I don't know their next move. You know what I mean? Like, I have to figure it out. So that's I'm excited
you want some
for.
novelty in the game, and this past year has just been flooded by what do we call this? Maybe it's like the Duelist Alliance 2.0 era.
I don't know,
like Sprite.
Looking at a
Kastira,
level
Bystials,
2
and
on my
Tyr.
opponent's side of the field, and I'm like, a chill goes down my spine, and I'm like, ugh.
Did I tell you the line? The line that I said to Christian about that Sprite is like, when your opponent activates a Sprite starter, you're like, here we go, and they summon red, and your blood pressure goes up because you know they have the blue, and you're like, all right, there it is. Like he's just gonna do the whole thing, and you stare at like the nib in your hand or whatever it was.
This doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's the sad truth of. It's kind of like their design. I feel like I don't like it, but it's how it is. I feel like they released their main set at like the start of the year, and they have like strong archetypes in that set, and those archetypes are kind of the defining contenders of the year. And the sets that follow for the year don't really add. They add like more support and change to those decks, but not new competitive decks as a whole. If that makes sense.
Yeah, they add more support to those decks. I mean, that's how it was. If you went back, what was it, like a year or two, it was like Sword Soul,
Power of the
Dry
Elements.
Brigade.
Yeah, and then that was the one before.
Yeah, then there's Power of the Elements, which is like this past year. It was like that whole year.
So I mean, yeah.
I mean,
It's whatever. I'm okay with it. I think it's like like a whole year is like a bit long.
Like times like this, it's like it almost is exhausting.
Yeah. Well, for people who play the game a lot like us, like we want something new. It's like
Right.
sink your teeth into something, you know.
I mean, that's
Otherwise,
why
you start building like runic valence and whatever.
Shut up, dude! Shut up! You can't leak that.
Oh shoot! It's all right. It's all right.
That's my Richmond deck. What the fuck?
Oh.
I'm joking.
Well.
Wait,
Okay.
Richmond's
All right.
half. Richmond will have Age of Overlord for Richmond.
I felt bad for leaking it. For those of you
No,
who
no.
are watching the video right now, you get the spoiler for
God.
something.
It shows
guess.
how mad scientist I am with runic cards.
I should have said a different deck list.
No,
Like Runic Chimera.
I think Valiance is perfect because it's like it's such the like what the fuck? How does that even synergize type shit?
You don't even know what that is. Like
Yeah.
half of the people watching don't even know what that. It's not even a word.
Okay, Unlimited.
All right.
The kind of funny section, I guess. This is actually the most exciting somehow.
Orange Light does nothing.
Orange light. Is that a nothing? Is that a nothing?
In
All right.
what
Here,
deck?
how's this?
What,
Is that a
Drytron
nothing?
or Tier?
Oh yeah, is that a nothing? Along with a Rise Heart being banned and Bystials maybe dropping in popularity, so Drytron can maybe slip back in there.
Yeah, Drytron can come back in a little bit. You could just get high rolled by tier, like this. If they just open Herald Agito again, you're just like, ugh.
With the one Agito, like, and one Calbeck.
It's not that it's gonna happen a lot. That's the part that makes it more frustrating when it does happen.
You'll have 4 Earth Fairies to pitch with this, or it could pitch itself, I guess. So you have like
Yeah. It's
Diviner.
itself and 6 other guys. Oh, you can
Diviner.
pitch Diviner too. So you're running 3 of those. Itself and 9 other targets. You're probably gonna have another target in your hand if you run 9 other guys.
It's enough. That's like kind of, I guess, like the
Dang, that's
logic.
like a quarter of your deck is just fairies in tier at that point. That's crazy. But I
It's
guess you
enough.
could do it.
So that's like kind of it for Herald of Orange Light. There's not a lot of stuff that can utilize it.
Hey,
That's
wait a
good.
second. Gamma's at 1. You can't have that at 3.
Oh no.
It's the same card.
Oh Herald. Oh Herald. Yeah. And then my favorite Link monster that was unlimited is
Yes. What was that?
Salmon Great Gazelle. That is now unlimited.
Good Link monster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does this change anything? All right. So it's at 1. I feel like the deck already has like a million ways to get to this card. Do you think this like, I know this helps it, but do you think it boosts it that much? I guess like maybe your desires can like hit one now and it's not the end of the world.
So I see this as the deck should now, consistency wise, it should end. You should be able to consistently end on both trap cards now, in my head.
Okay.
I don't think I would play Desires. I don't like Desires in Salad. Maybe you can pull it off now with 3 Gazelle, because there's not really like
I guess you banish the traps though. Like you're not gonna play too many of the traps.
Yeah, as long as you get
Yeah.
like a Jaguar out, you're fine probably. I just have like I don't know, like the new support too, like now like with Salmon Grid of Fire and Weasel, they're like really good. So maybe there's something there. You still have Buffalo too. You have like 5 draw cards. You have like a potential draw 5 with just those. Now that I think about it. That's really good. Damn. I'm about to play some Salad.
Yeah, I'm gonna go eat some salad.
That's a that's a lot.
All right. How about other stuff that didn't get moved around here? Either semi-limited or unlimited.
The entire ban list that could come 2-3 probably, and that was like my beef with it. Like I literally said on here somewhere, I was like, where did I post it? Did I
The entire semi-limited list.
I was like, the ban list is boring. Here it is. Yeah, ban list is fine, but it's like they didn't bring anything back. Like, no fun cards came back that you could like mess around with and like kind of like just dunk around with, have fun. You know what I mean?
So here's, I guess this is probably too early, but Kieran didn't come off.
Yes, that was like an expected one with that.
That like I guess that's gonna be on.
But that's not
the January one or whatever.
Yeah, that's not Age of Overlord. That's those set after, which comes out in around that time. So Kieran makes sense on that one more. That also wouldn't go to 3. That'd be a limited probably.
What I've noticed, I feel like, for example, with like Blaster went to 1, but it only went to 1 after they did it in Japan. Ancient Fairy got unbanned, but it only got unbanned after it got the errata in Japan. I feel like on like when it comes to unbans at least, something like that, like we're kind of like waiting on them to like get the reveal in their set, do it on their list, and then we do it a few months later on our list.
Yeah.
Wait, don't they get a ban list soon?
Maybe.
Yes, they do.
They do? Okay.
Yes, people are apparently. I saw a post on this before. People are apparently wanting Max C band, but we will see.
Damn, it took them like 8 years. Probably be like, all right, we're sick of our Max C. Like,
the problem is if they ban Max C there, they have to hit like a million other things.
Really? Like what?
They have like every combo deck still that they just don't use because of Max C existence.
Fair.
They have Black Dragon at 3.
That's true. Yeah.
That card is still just there. That card's bonkers. It's like one of the most absurd cards I've ever read. It's still at 3.
Here's something that, do you think that, you know, that's for another video. I'm not going to bring it up.
They were already 30 minutes in.
Yeah.
So is there any like final notes for this ban list, I suppose, that you want to mention? Like I like it's only 5 cards.
Yeah, it's hard to squeeze
it's fine.
more out of
It's
these guys.
fine.
I think
like, they're setting up for the next.
Fine,
set.
but not exciting.
Yeah, they're setting for the next set because they know like this new stuff coming out in Age of Overlord is like very good. And
All right, you say that. Is it though? You think it's really gonna shift the meta that much?
it's weird. It's not like there's like a whole archetype that's like oh,
That's right,
it's
yeah.
gonna change. They're like engine cards.
Right,
Like
SP
there's
and the XYZ.
there's Horus card. That's an engine card. The Diabolstar. That's an engine card.
I hope Testino becomes tier 1. That'd be so funny.
Oh, okay, all right. That is something I like on a closing remark. I'll say that might be a thing that nobody expects. Like they're thinking about what's coming up in the meta. They're like, yeah, Diabellstar, Horus, and like the new Manatium. It's like, nope, sorry, you guessed it wrong. Like if you could go back Like if in 6 months, if you could go back and tell yourself
Yeah.
6 months ago, which like now it'd be like, no, it was Testina you should have been talking about. That's
Everything.
my sleeper pick.
It's scary. Yeah, you know what? I kind of for a sleeper pick, I agree. And the only reason I say that is because everything feels even. Even Unchained. I know it's like considered the best deck right now. I am convinced that that deck is not miles ahead of everything else. It is just tech choices that it plays around everything else the best. And when people start teching for it, I think that deck gets significantly worse.
Yeah.
When people are playing for it. But I also, which inadvertently sets up with this format to a deck to just be better than everything else, like power wise. And when Testina already has like 4 deck interactions and things that come back from the graveyard every turn, you have like a good late game and a lot of starters. There's a lot of going on for it right now in my eyes. Like it has like the setup.
It just needs a couple payoffs, and I think it starts to go places.
I already have my demigods in my hands currently.
So
Same.
I'm like, I'm just saying, just be prepared. It's like $10 to get the whole fucking core. If you could spare $10, I don't know. I think it's worth it, but I don't know. What do I know? I'm just some fucking goon who doesn't know anything. But yeah, that would be my prediction. I don't think Unchained's better than everything else. That's like my honest opinion right now. I really don't.
Do you think people just didn't know how to play against it?
That, and I think that it was good against all of the tech cards that are being played
It's
right now.
it's feeding on like the meta calls of like book and all that.
I would be so mad if I book and moon something, then they're like, okay, yeah, cool. Anyway, Shavara, pop the book guy, and then keep playing. I'd fucking be fuming. Yeah, it's such a bad feeling.
We could probably get that T-Fon Doomsday card too.
Yep.
That card's also broken. Anyway.
All right.
Okay, anything else you guys want to say or no?
Invest in Red Dragon Archfiend cards.
Oh, shut the fuck up. You Vince?
I mean, it's good. I mean, good. Air quoting good. It's a safe list.
Yes.
It wasn't a burn everything list that people always want because it's just like
I think that's
refreshing.
The right term. That's definitely the right term.
It's a safe list. They had to release something, so they released something, and then when's the next list go in effect by? Like when?
This one?
Does it just say a couple of months from now?
It's a few months. It's always a few months.
So it's a few months from now. So
probably like
December, January.
Yeah, December and January, somewhere in there. So we got a little bit. But all right, that works.
All right.
Well, thank you guys again for this conversation of 5 cards. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening.
And I hope you guys enjoy watching it. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.